Welcome to Our Time. He came from South Sudan, escaped the civil war and became a refugee in Kakuma in Kenya, and then came to Australia as an unaccompanied minor. But he's here now. Bior Aguer.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you.
So we're all happy.
Yeah.
But you are happy now, aren't you? Because you found a home.
Yes, I found a home, and it's been a process to integrating into the new home, and I'm now moving to new horizons, which is good. Yeah.
So let's just talk about how hard this must have been for you as a child. But I guess you didn't know another life.
No, didn't.
Can you just explain what happened to you? You were born, obviously. What happened next?
Yeah, so my journey starts early and with a lot of adversity. So I was born in the middle of the South Sudanese Civil War, where then I found myself with my family seeking refuge at the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. And then from there I went back.
So you obviously had to leave your home
Yeah.
and friends, or could everyone sort of go together? Or was it just, let's get out of here?
It was chaotic. It was like, let's get out of here. You know, there's militias and rebels who are after, so there's northern side and the southern side are Muslim and Christian. And there was a lot of...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a religious war, really.
Religious war, yeah.
You'd think in this day and age we would have learnt, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No matter where we live on this planet, you'd think we would have learnt.
That's right, that's right.
Nobody wins this. It just displaces and kills people.
With a lot of geopolitics within it too, so it's like, you know.
So your family has moved into Kenya. What happens next?
And then from there, so in our culture, it's very common to have a lot of different wives. My dad has 7 wives.
7?
Yeah, 7.
How tired he must have been.
Yeah, he was a chief, so he did a lot of the like governance within the communities.
Right, so you're a prince.
You can say that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the name is very big in the because there's sub-tribes and everything, so my name, Bior, is the name of the great ancestor which started the whole family line.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's really big. So from there, my parents had divorced from around the age of 2, 3.
Because your father had so many wives? Or?
Not so much the wives, it's internal conflicts, and so from there...
They didn't get on?
They didn't get on.
They
no.
didn't get on,
They didn't
okay.
get on, yeah.
I
Now,
can imagine that with so many wives.
Yeah,
That could be a problem.
She was still a bit young at the time. But now, like, they made peace and amends, and...
They have now?
Yeah. So from there, my father decided for me to come and apply for the refugee status. And that's when I came over here as an unaccompanied minor. And
why did he do that? Just to give you a better life, to give you more chance in life?
Correct. And I had no idea where I was going. You know.
How old were you?
I left at the age of 3. Process started from age of 3.
3,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I arrived here age of 4.
And who did you know where you were going?
No.
I mean, you didn't know where you were going,
Yeah.
but who you were going to meet here?
I had no idea. I just knew that we were going somewhere safer. And I thought my mum...
But were you meeting family here? Was that what was happening?
Yeah, so upon arrival here, my sister's the one that did the whole processes from this back in.
Right, from Australia.
Yeah,
she made it happen for you. She had already come out on a similar...
Yeah.
In a similar way?
Yeah.
And how old was she?
She would have been just approaching her 30s, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this was a big family you came from.
Big
so
family.
how many sort of half-brothers, sisters have you got?
I couldn't count, to be honest. Like, my family tried to break it down to me. I was like, this is too long. You know, like...
It's incredible.
From memory, it's like 40 siblings, you know, from different mothers. I'm the firstborn from my mum.
Right.
And when you look at it, my sister's kids have kids. So it's like I'm a great uncle and big family. Yeah. So I just don't bother to...
No, just expect... Well, you're really making your own way in Australia. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're here as a 4-year-old. You obviously didn't speak English at that time.
No.
How hard was that?
It was a process. First, I didn't even know why I'm here, where my family was. I thought they were on the next plane. And then from there...
Well, plane, that must have been a huge experience for you.
Yeah, it was.
Because you'd never flown before?
Nah.
Had you seen a plane before?
Nah, or just leaving for where I am, even the refugee camp isn't as modern, leaving that situation that I first was initially used to then going to the cities. Like, yeah, just the processing towards the airport and stuff is just different.
It must have seemed like, you know, you're going to another planet.
Yeah, there's a quote in one of my books where I said that I was in Kenyan International Airport, you know, infatuated with a fresh surrounding, as if I was summoned to a new world, as machinery and high-rise buildings now surrounded me, you know.
It must have been just extraordinary. It's actually quite hard to get your head around that, because we just accept all these things because we've grown up with it.
Yeah.
But having never seen anything like that, it's just, anyway, mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So you're here in Australia, and obviously you've got to go into an education system.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, education for me, what I found here was a way out. Education is a tool to build your dreams into reality, and that's what I found in this new society I'm in. And so what I realized is, okay, odds are all against me. I'm going to have to do years of investing, whether it's education, self, or how I intake all the different experiences that are happening. Because I'm young at the end of the day, and I'm growing up away from family. So,
absolutely. Yeah. But so how did you learn English? Obviously, you went to school.
Yep. So I was placed in the first new arrival schools. You know, certain services were helping integrate into this. Just knowing, like, for instance, crossing the road, I had no idea why there was a pedestrian crossing. You know, because at that time, like, we never had it.
I get that.
Yeah, and then my sister stopped me one time. I was about to go. It's like, and I'm like, to her, why are you going? And I looked at it. I was like, oh, there's rules here, where that if it's red, you stop.
Right.
The cars are not going to give you way because you're there.
Right.
That
you see,
complexity.
that's such a fundamental thing that we're so used to, and we never really think about that. But I guess every child has to learn that, no matter where you're from. So that's not that unusual, but it is if you've not seen it before.
Yeah, and you're coming from a different environment.
Yeah.
So that was an issue.
Was it difficult for you also because you're in a predominantly white society? Did you find that people found you a curiosity to start with?
Yeah.
Because you didn't speak the language either?
Yeah, that's where the whole identity question comes in. It becomes a bit more amplified when I have to always identify who I am. And when I get different questions like where you're from, how is Africa, you know, where are your parents, or where you don't know yet what's going on. And the whole identity question and identifying as Australian I speak about in my writing. And for me, it's about understanding your own identity first, your cultural roots, your cultural stance.
I suppose it's who you are and what you want out of life, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I guess everyone's got to come to terms with that, but it's made more difficult because you haven't got that family structure around you.
Yeah. So that was key, you know, that was key to first accepting what the situation is and how you're going to make sure that, you know what, we all have a chance and probably only have one chance to get it right. So for me, I was like, if I give up now, like, what's the point of giving up when, like, it's not, I wouldn't say like I'm already dead, but you can feel like you've already died.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think, but life generally is a bit of a fight to keep going because you're always blasted with new things coming at you.
Exactly, yeah.
But the thing that springs to my mind, first of all, is in a situation like that, who do you turn to when you've got a problem?
That's that.
You haven't got a parent with you.
Right. So I was a bit mute for a while along my adolescence and young years. I didn't talk. I was quiet. People used to ask me, why are you quiet? But I just keep to myself all the time because I just had to take in way too much at a very young age.
I can understand that, but it does come to a point of who do you trust enough to say, this is how I'm feeling, am I right, am I wrong, what am I?
That was almost non-existent until, you know, I started getting myself around the right people, friendship circles, and I did a lot of listening to podcasts, and I'm a curious person. I had to be curious to get the pieces of the puzzles together as I go.
How do you feel? We're going to talk about your books in a little while, but how do you feel now? Do you feel settled? Do you feel like you've got your feet firmly planted?
I feel like I've risen to a place where I can create change and open voice, and then this is a part of the healing process. However, I already know that there's a lot of work to be done. So it's just I've opened doors, and now I've got to execute the path that.
Well, yes, I can understand that. Opening doors. That's a very good analogy. We'll be back in a moment to talk a bit more with Bior, and we'll have a look at these 2 books, both of which he's written. We'll see you in a tick. Welcome back. Our special guest is Bior Aguer. Bior, I can't believe your story. It's just mind-boggling to someone who's had an upbringing as I've had. Although I was an adopted child, so I was sort of a displaced person too, but I was in a society that, was so ordinary for my upbringing. I didn't come from somewhere else. I learnt the language as a first language. Do you remember the first language you had? How many languages? You speak more than one language, don't you?
Through my transition out of Kenya, I was exposed to a lot of the Swahili. So I picked up a bit of Swahili. As the years went on within Australia, they went away. And then the language would have been English after that. So Dinka, English, but I've completely forgotten Swahili aspect.
It's probably still sitting there though. If somebody talked to you, oh yeah, I remember those words.
Yeah. That does happen, but I didn't have a need for it here. As soon as I got here.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No,
so
because everything's in English. So, what brought about writing
that book, General for Refugee? A lot of things. This was during COVID. A lot of issues were rising within people, within life. And I also had a look at my community, and my community also not only fighting for voice, but also being first South Sudanese Australians, we have to set the path for the right directions,
Yeah.
So for me, I said, okay, I should write a book about my adolescence here,
So you've written it in more or less as poetry. So you can basically see that it's there. It's simple, but absolutely to the point. So this is already out and it's available.
That's my
on Amazon.
mother there. That was the last photo.
Oh, okay.
And then that's me as a young. I haven't turned 1 yet.
How extraordinary.
Yeah. So I put her there because it's like everyone needs purpose, and family was purpose. So she had to be on the first book that talks about me.
And this second one,
yes,
is like a follow-up book.
It is the follow-up. It's a sequel. It's like you've got now Dominance, the red, Divinity, the name. So you found divinity between your journey, and it's got me in the front now because it's like someone that has something to say.
Because it's yes.
It's the truth.
How old are you? Is that okay to ask?
Yes, yeah. I'm 24 years of age. Yeah.
So really, you've had 20 years to sort of make a life here.
Yeah.
So you came to this university?
Yeah, I did.
And what did you study here?
Studied Bachelor of Journalism and Professional Writing. Because during high school, or just in my primary years, I wasn't good. It was hard to focus in school, but I realized I need to focus. So, yeah.
Well, was that because, when you went home at night, were you able to communicate in the things that you did during the day, or was that hard to explain what you were learning all the time?
Yeah, it was hard to grasp the education system here. But as I went on, I started to ask a lot of questions and do an extra 4 to 6 hours of study each day. Because this is what I had to do.
What about your friends at school? How did they treat you?
Because I was so reserved and kept to myself, and I always see the human in everyone. I'm not egoistic. I don't look to bother other people. I was a popular person. And I did a lot of leadership roles, a lot of academic and a lot of awards and a lot of sporting. I played in the school A's basketball team. I went to Sydney. Yeah, so we did a lot of, I played basketball and I was going to play professionally.
Okay.
I was going to play professionally, however, my route changes. I'm like, there's a lot I need to talk about here. So I went into media and arts, and from there, now I'm doing public speaking and producing podcast series and things like that.
So who are you hoping to connect with the podcast series?
Oh, that one's a universal audience.
Right.
We speak to candid guests, conversations. from people in their top professions in art, politics. We talked to 10 senators. We had the last recording was with David Spears, the leader of the opposition party.
Right.
Yep, and we have a lot of different, all career people.
So David Spears is now the leader of the Liberal government here in South Australia, who are in opposition. So how do you take the next step in your career? Have you got a plan for where to get to and where you want to go?
Yep. Now my network and collaborations and people I work with we're on point and have a goal. So now we are redefining the goals and next steps to having a productive line. I've got a book tour around Australia coming up, and
promoting these?
Promoting this.
Yeah.
And I've also got individual community projects with some departments in government and other individuals, lawyers, that we are working to bridge the gap of community cohesiveness from the African community within Australia.
Well, I know there is a concern with a lot of, I suppose, if you can call them native Australians or people born on this piece of land, because we don't necessarily understand what you guys have come from. I mean, your description of what you've come from is terrifying to us.
Yeah, and that's a good
We've
point.
never lived in a war-torn country.
Yeah.
That's the, that's the thing.
Yeah, so that's right. It comes back to understanding. How can two communities understand their history and where they come from? Because for me, I might have been through that, but I'm not saying that that's the reason for me not to succeed or like a refugee card or anything like that. It's more like, there's power and liberation in your own identity, finding yourself. There's a chapter in one of the books called Finding Myself.
And where did you find yourself?
I find myself as...
Sitting down during COVID, thinking a lot.
Thinking a lot, yeah. Thinking a lot, still trying to find something. And that something is purpose, because as the book says, without a shadow, there's no substance. This is true for purpose. Everything has a shadow, object, and we are something part of the universe as well. So without the shadow, there would be a substance. So without your purpose, then there's no physical...
Yes, no, I understand what you're saying, yeah. I guess everyone goes through this situation in life trying to find what it is it's like, why are we here? What's the purpose of me doing whatever it is that I'm doing? Have you actually resolved that within yourself, do you think?
When it comes to that purpose, that one can be ever going, because now I've got too much doors open. Now I have to refine. Now I'm refining the right avenues that tick all the boxes, We're almost there.
Is that because you have an end game now in mind?
Yeah.
And what is that? To be an author, a public speaker?
I never could imagine me being an author, because I never thought I would survive primary school.
Yes.
Yeah, I never thought I would get past that, but it was good. So now it's like...
So did you blossom during your teenage years, do you think? Is that...
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's where the trials and tribulations began.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because let's say I'm now turning 18, I have to think about how do I get a job? How do I drive? It's not now within the home that you have to worry about,
Right. I think everyone goes through that, but having the background you've had must make it extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Have you found people have taken to you? Are they fascinated by your backstory? Is that the door that opens up to other people, your backstory?
Not just the backstory, but just how I carry myself, and my ideals is very unique. I'm finding peace along the journey. Yeah.
Well, my admiration goes out to you. I think it's just extraordinary what you've achieved so far. Just talk again about the podcast. So you're looking to do interviews with people who are in different aspects of life, obviously, who can affect people in similar positions to yourself. Have you got any idea statistically how many people have fled to Australia from places like Sudan? Is there a big community?
It's huge. It was a mass exit from my memory. Like, it was in the millions, because there's stories of So the Lost Boys, you might have heard about the Lost Boys who, during the Civil War, were the young ones that were left behind because either couldn't have been carried, or it's just like it was not enough time. So out of the million of people who went across the border, there was a lot of young people who found themselves waking up with no one around.
Well, so would they have been sort of assimilated into either side of the Civil War?
What happened is the freedom fighters from the Southern Sudanese community came along the way and got them, and then there was no choice because it was a fight for survival. They were then child soldiers.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were a lucky one.
Yeah.
When you think about
got
it.
Away, yeah.
And you're obviously trying to make the best of your luck.
Yeah, that's right. I had to because there's a lot of generational trauma within the community, because we're trying to get out of something that is almost impossible, like a whole nation.
I know, just terrifying.
Millions of people, yeah.
It's great to hear your story. We've got to take a short break, and we'll return in just a moment. We've been talking with Bior Aguer. Bior, now that we've had a long conversation about where you've come from and where you feel that you're going, but have you now actually got a direction that you feel this is where it's going to happen for me in life?
Yeah, there is. So now I've got production work in, let's say, I've got 2 short films now. I've got the 2 books. I do public speaking around schools. Everything to do is with people. So I'm going to not just use my story, but I'm going to create avenues of inspiration through this work and build a model and a brand in order to impact other people's lives. And the end goal of that is to provide service. It's now paying it forward to my work. My work is about paying it forward. In that, I am now a award-winning poet and performer, been performing in Adelaide Fringe and other big festivals.
Yes.
So there's the performance aspect, there's the public speaking and networking and different organizations I work with, and then there's my community service through my services where I've got an Adelaide Youth Hub, I've got a youth organization, so it's all paying it forward.
So anybody looking for your help, how can they find you?
So you can contact me from socials, like let's say the profile page on Facebook, which is Bior Aguer, or you can contact the social media, which is Instagram, Bior the Poet. That is my business account where a lot of my content work and.
Oh, that's great because it's been so inspirational just chatting with you. Because we hadn't met before this. We had a short conversation on the phone and then bang, we're talking. And it's been just lovely talking with you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it,
Thank you, and thank you for being part of OurTime. It's just lovely to hear an honest appraisal of somebody's true life story that isn't the same as yours and mine. So, Bior, thank you so much for being part of our program.
Thank you.
Till next time on OurTime, keep yourself nice till then. We'll see you soon.